It's good to see all of you. Thank you for coming out. Today, we are proud to finally announce that at a cost of about $100,000 through a contribution through WellSpan Health, we are able to have body cameras for our city police officers. We sincerely thank the generous support of WellSpan Health because without their assistance, we would not be standing here today announcing our cameras. So thank you all very, very much. Is Councilman Henry Nixon here with us? I thought I saw Councilman Halpert over there. Okay. And a lot of our officers are around as well too. We believe body cameras are good for our officers and our citizens alike. That's why we took our time in order to roll out these in a way that supports our mission. Amidst the calls and email messages from many of you we were taking our time. I also want to thank Chief Kelly and the captains and members of the FOP for working together so that we could roll out this pilot program today. Thank you all very, very much. So the body cameras will record accurate evidence and encourage all of us to be on our best behavior. We know that even with all the technology in the world, it cannot replace meaningful communication, trust, and relationships shared by public safety professionals and our citizens. And all the technology in the world cannot usher in trust and friendship between neighbors, nurturing strong, stable neighborhoods. We will continue to work hard towards strengthening our community relations in addition to this tool. We also recognize there are critics on both sides of the use of cameras, and there are folks who work to make the city better that claim to not know anything about the police department even obtaining and using body cameras. Well, this administration sees these cameras as yet another tool that puts us in the 21st century of getting things right. Among the police department that have been using cameras, early results have been encouraging, and we want to be part of that. We believe they will help to make the streets of York safer for both officers and the general public. Yes, we believe and no body cameras will hold our officers accountable for appropriate and inappropriate conduct. And we also believe body cameras will assist to improve the general public's view of policing by showing the human side, or the human beings, if you will, behind the shield. So thank you again to everyone for being here. Now I'd like to ask Keith Knoll, President of York Hospital WellSpan Health, to say a few words as well.
Thank you, Mayor Bracy, and good afternoon. WellSpan Health and WellSpan York Hospital have had a special long-standing relationship with the City of York and its police and fire departments. We have benefited from the outstanding service we have received from the city's first responders for many, many years. And in turn, WellSpan has worked together with the city on efforts that foster a healthy, safe, and vibrant community of York. Some of our recent efforts have focused on ensuring public safety for those who live, work, and play in the city. Examples include WellSpan's contributions towards the City of York's police headquarters training center, as well as many of the police vehicles you see each and every day on our streets. Recognizing the economic challenges the city has been facing, and in keeping with our mission to improve health of our community, WellSpan has expanded its support of our first responders through an increased annual donation which helps to provide stronger police and fire services. WellSpan has committed $1 million in donations to the City of York, which will be used to promote and enhance public safety, including the purchase of equipment and services such as the body cameras. This funding will also be used to continue our sponsorship with York College on the Southwest Community Policing Initiative. It is our pleasure to provide funding for this equipment, which is intended to provide greater transparency and safety for the City of York's police force, as well as the community it serves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith. And again, we appreciate your support and the partnership that we have. Next, we'll have Chief Kelly come up and talk a little bit about the tool that we have. Chief?
Good afternoon. And I know it's been said here already, but thanks again, Keith, for the partnership that WellSpan has with us. It's been amazing, and it's very much appreciated. Without your cooperation, without your partnership and assistance, we wouldn't be taking this step today. And quite frankly, there are many things that we have thanks to WellSpan. We do appreciate it within this building. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, for the last year, we've been working on a trying to get a pilot program up and running with regards to body cameras here in New York City Police Department. And after some time, we're proud to announce that starting today, we have 14 officers within the New York City Police Department that are going to be taking part in a pilot program over the next 3 months. During the pilot program, these officers are going to be wearing the body cameras during their normal business day. We're going to have weekly meetings to evaluate what is taking place, how the system is working, how the officers are reacting to utilize the cameras, and how the community is reacting to the utilization of the cameras. At the end of that 3-month period, we'll make a determination whether we believe we're at a proper spot, and if we are, the rest of the officers within the New York City Police Department will be outfitted and trained with the cameras. Again, thanks to the generosity of WellSpan, we were able to purchase 100 body cameras that allows us to outfit each and every officer with an individualized body camera. That, we believe, will help us in the end as far as maintenance of the body cameras, as far as tracking the data that comes off of them, and et cetera, when we don't have cameras being passed back and forth. And it will also allow for any downtime if an officer's camera is broken or becomes inactive for some reason. A couple things that we want the public to know. Due to the wiretap laws right now, and I don't see any of our legislators in the room, we're asking them again to push forward trying to get change made with the wiretap laws in Pennsylvania. Last year, our legislator did make a change, but it wasn't sufficient enough to allow our officers to enter private residences while using the audio portion of the cameras themselves. We had two choices to make as we move forward with this project. Wait until the wiretap law was changed, and or we could put the cameras out utilizing the video only option, which is what we decided to do. So all of our cameras right now, the audio will be turned off on the cameras. We will be video recording only until the changes can be made, and hopefully, I know there's several bills out there, but hopefully that'll happen soon. We did that for two reasons. One, we want to make sure that we protect the privacy and respect the constitutional rights of our citizens. And number two, we want to make sure that our officers are protected. The last thing I wanted to do was have our officers go out there, become involved in something, and unwillingly violate the wiretap law and become subject to prosecution. While I don't believe they would have been prosecuted, we wouldn't have wanted to put our officers in that position, which is why we made the decision that we made. We will be holding the data that is collected for 30 days at this point. I know there's been a lot of talk back and forth as to what the right amount of time is. What we wanted to look at, and we looked at over the last year, was basically the amount of time that it takes for someone to file a citizen complaint in the New York City Police Department. We felt comfortable that the majority of our complaints come in that 30-day window, and therefore we would have that data. It's obvious that our officers that are going out and they tape record something, they'll know whether they need it for evidentiary reasons or for some other reason, and they'll flag it right away to be held for evidence. But we were worried about the data that happens to be captured that our officers don't necessarily believe needs to be kept, but turns out to be something that is necessary. And we find that now with our in-car camera system, that we get requests with traffic accidents and those sorts of things that the cameras pick up. So I know that was a big thing for people as to how long we were going to keep the data, but the system will be set up to automatically eliminate the data after 30 days. Anything that we do keep past that will be part of an investigation, whether it's internal or is part of a criminal investigation. Copies that will be made and stored as evidence like we do with our in-car camera system. We went with a company called Digital Ally, and I know some people have reported on that. And the reason we did that, our in-car cameras were already made by Digital Ally. We already have their system in-house. So that was a natural step for us to utilize their equipment. We didn't have to buy more software and servers and those sorts of things. We could use what's already in-house. Our policy, again, was developed over the last year in meetings with the Fraternal Order Police so that they had say into what was going on. Obviously, they have concerns. We're in a day and age right now that our officers, quite frankly, are under attack quite often, both physically and in the media for things that they do and don't do. And we wanted to make sure that their thoughts and concerns were put into place with our system. One thing that I see across the United States when I look at these cameras is it's catching officers doing the right thing. and that's what we believe is going to happen here. We know our officers go out every day and do a fantastic and hard job. We know they're out there doing the correct thing, and once again, this will help show is that our officers are out there doing the right thing. I don't look at it as a way to capture our officers doing something wrong, because I believe in my heart they're not out there doing that. So we look forward to the program moving forward. We're excited about what kind of data we're going to collect from the cameras, and hopefully at the end of the 3 months we'll be ready to move forward and put all of our officers out there utilizing the systems. I have Sergeant Riccobono and Officer Narr with me today. They've been deeply involved in the program and in charge of running the program for us in-house. They're here once at the conclusion of the press conference, that you can ask any technical questions of them, that sort of thing, rather than me trying to act as a media, an intermediary on things that I may not know. Does anybody have any direct questions for myself, the mayor, or Mr. Knoll?
Chief, regarding the devices, so when the officer comes on duty at the beginning of the shift, is the device immediately turned on and does it remain on? Is it automatically always on, or do the officers have the capability to shut it off? And some folks may be wondering if, in fact, that does this create the possibility, is there the possibility that in some cases an officer perhaps might delete or edit some of the material that is recorded on the camera?
Sure. I mean, there was two sections of thought with that. When we were looking at policies, we looked at the International Chiefs of Police Executive Research Forum, and also the ACLU's information on it and their model policies. Our officers will be turning the cameras on and off. It won't be running all the time. Number one, in order to store that much data, you would need a whole bank of servers. Number two, we're worried about violating people's right to privacy by just intercepting meaningless conversations that have nothing to do with police work. The general order that's in place right now for the officers that are doing the pilot project, it lists out for them instances in which we want them to turn the camera on. When they're conducting police-related activities with a civilian, we want them to turn the camera on. Now, obviously, if they go in someone's house right now, they're to turn the camera off until the issues get straightened out with the wiretap laws. So we will be recording outside of homes and private residences where we believe people have an expectation of privacy. Again, we're only recording video at this time, and the officers will be turning it off and on. The one thing that they have to do, and it makes it a little more difficult right now until the wiretap law is changed, but in their reports, they need to document why the camera was turned off. And there are exceptions where if they're talking to a witness out on a crime scene, many times they don't want to be identified, and it may cause a problem with us getting information. That's a reason to turn the camera off when they're out on a crime scene. But the officers will have to document that in their report right now. Once the audio is turned on, the officers will basically document that via talking into the mic and saying, I'm getting ready to turn the camera off for this reason. And we don't see a problem with officers deleting items, and possibly, I don't want to put Sergeant Riccobono on the spot, but the system's set up that we don't believe that it has the capability of doing that. But yes, our officers will be turning the cameras on and off, and actually it's something that's recommended by the ACLU to be done.
The officers that are coming on tonight for the evening shift, will they, I don't know if all 14 you mentioned are on tonight, but will the officers tonight be wearing them?
Yes, the pilot project starts today. I don't know which officers are working this evening that have them on. Again, there's 14 officers that were selected to take part in the pilot program. One thing we wanted to do is make sure we selected officers that are very active in the police department. We felt that would give us a better look at what we needed to change in the policy, what we needed to change in how we store information and collect data, and also the extra amount of work that this may put on the police officer. At the end of each shift, they're going to have to come in and dump the recording device, which takes a very limited amount of time, but then they have to flag the videos that they want to make sure that they keep. So we figured if we use the officers that were very active in the department, it would give us a good look and idea of the exact amount of time and circumstances.
So Chief, in what way will this improve the relationship between the York community and the police department?
I mean, we're hoping so. To us, it's another example of us trying to be transparent and be the best police department that we could be. Again, as I said earlier, I don't look at it as us doing this in order to make sure our officers aren't doing something wrong. I know we're going to capture our officers doing something right. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but if all you have to do is look throughout the United States, I think there's plenty of examples of statistics where this has actually driven citizen complaints down by quite a bit. Whether that's the officer behaving differently because they have a camera on, whether that's a citizen behaving differently now because they know they're being recorded, really doesn't matter to me. The fact that citizen complaints are dropping, I think, is a good thing. It's changing the interaction between the officers and the citizens. We put a recording system in our interview rooms here, I don't know, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago now, where we started recording all of our interviews in our detective division, and immediately our officers were concerned about what that would do. And what we found out, it really changed the amount of court time we had to spend in court, because where suspects would lie about how they were treated in the past, would lie about what they said, now we have a video of it and we turn it in. So I'm excited at this prospect. It's unfortunate it's one more thing that our officers have to deal with. I made a joke earlier today that we're going to need pack mules for them to be able to carry things in and out of the building. But I think it's part of 21st century policing. I believe it's something that's coming to every police department, and I'm happy that we're on the leading edge of it.
How's the quality of the video?
Quality's very good.
Just a couple questions.
Yeah.
So video, no audio will be
Currently. Once the situation's straightened out in the legislature with the wiretap law, then we'll be turning the audio on.
And why do a pilot program? I mean, is there a certain reason you want to test the
A lot of moving parts. I mean, this is something that's generally new to police work. There are a lot of things historically in my 28 years that I've dealt with that I could say, yeah, this is what happens and this is how we need to deal with it. This is something brand new to me. It's something brand new to our officers. And there's not a lot of examples, quite frankly, out there of correct data. So we need to do our own pilot project inside. We created a policy that we believe is a good policy based on everything else, but we need to see how it works. We need to see how it works here in York. We need to see how the system works to make sure that we're doing the right thing.
He asked my question. Just
Okay.
want to make sure the audio was, so no audio for 3 months at all.
Currently, I mean, obviously in that 3 months, if the legislature comes up and changes something, we'll be ready to go.
Do you think there could be a situation where they would want to switch the audio on, or that you would want it to do that?
Well, they can. It's turned off in our system right now, just to make sure that our officers didn't violate anything with the current laws. But I can think of many opportunities where we want that audio. I mean, there's a lot of interaction, especially with a suspect, that takes place verbally, that we want to make sure is recorded. And again, you go back, if someone knows they're being recorded, they're going to talk differently and act differently towards our police officers, I believe, than what they may be doing if they feel they can say whatever they want and get away with it.
Can you talk to me a little bit about how this grant kind of enabled this whole thing? Can you talk to me a little bit about that and just kind of what you guys would be doing if you guys didn't have a grant like this?
If we, and Keith can talk about it then, but if we didn't have a grant, we wouldn't be doing this. I had a chief contacting right now. I had a chief contacted me from the PA Chiefs Association yesterday, and he said, someone from the media asked him, well, why don't you have body cameras yet? And he said, quite frankly, we haven't found someone to help us financially achieve that. WellSpan's done that for us. I don't know, Keith, if you want to.
No, I think you said it pretty well there.
That's bottom line. I mean, we were smart about the tax dollars that we use, as you went through the budget with us, and our councilmen are here as well, that can attest to that. We don't have $100,000 for another tool, unfortunately.
One of the things from a health system that we try to do is, rather than just providing just general funding, we look for projects that we can help fund that actually hit our mission. This obviously falls into that, and the police have always been really good responders to the hospital. When we need their help, they're always there. When the fire department needs our help, they're always there. So we really do try to target dollars towards first responders because it hits our mission the best.
Have there been any situations today so far where this has been handy that you know of?
I don't know. The officers have to dump the data. I don't even know if any of the officers wearing them have worked yet today, other than I've seen these two officers around the building. But I know they've been working on the project most of the time today to make sure things are running properly. I know you changed something earlier today. You saw something in the system. I forget what it was, but it's not.
How to tag videos and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a learning process, and I'm sure every day we're going to learn something new. And our policy we have in place, I'm sure, is going to look totally different at the end of 3 months, and the system will probably change somewhat as to how we utilize it as we learn lessons.
Are the cameras weather resistant, or is there how does that work?
You guys want?
We haven't really addressed the issue of whether rain or, downpours gonna wipe them out or not. The hard drive stays in your box, that's pretty much out there. Only the head is active. So we'll see, it's all rubberized, it looks like it's sealed pretty good. But again, if we find that to be an issue, then we'll address it.
Is that where the cameras are going to be on everybody, just sort of?
We leave it up to the individual officer. For myself and Officer Naw, this seems to work best for us because of the outer vest that we wear. But you have the option of wearing it the way you want, whether on a button off to the side.
That's what the entire system looks like then.
What about who gets to review the footage? Is there like each department gets to review it after it's dumped into the system, or is there only a certain amount of rank of officer?
Yeah, the officers will flag their videos. Obviously, each individual officer is allowed to look at the video that they took. They were involved in the incidents. The system's also set up so that our training lieutenant can review what's taking place. Our internal affairs inspector can go in and look at data. I can look at data. Supervisors once a month can go in and make sure that the things are just working properly. So obviously there's checks and balances within the system, as we have with all of our systems, the in-car cameras, everything, to make sure things are happening properly.
Do you plan on using it as a training tool at all? Or if you would say, hey, like you handled this well, you put on this here?
Yeah, obviously, any serious encounter we have turns into that. And we've done that with in-car camera video already. So it's another tool that's there. All of our training, shouldn't say all of our training scenarios, but many of our force-on-force training scenarios we do now, we've actually been recording with GoPro cameras. So, video has many applications, and it's left up to the mind to figure out how to use it, but training's very much at the forefront of this.
Do you have a timeline as far as when you want every officer to have a camera? I mean, I know you said 3 months program.
Yeah, we've been at this for a year already. I said 3 months right now for the pilot. I'm hoping that takes care of it, but if it doesn't, we'll add another 3 months on. The important thing is to get this right. We don't want it to become a problem. We want to make sure that it's right for the citizens. We want to make sure it's right for our officers. We want to make sure we're getting everything out of it. Obviously, WellSpan spent $100,000 on this, so we want to make sure that it's doing what they've expected it to do also. So we're going to take as much time as it takes to get it right.
I just hope the cameras are waterproof. I didn't even think about that until...
Should be fine until one of my guys dives into Cador's Creek for some reason. Anything else? Again, these officers are here if you have any technical questions or you want to take some other.